Welcome to the land of vast, open spaces, a rugged wilderness with an endless thirst for adventure. Mountains lead to glaciers, glaciers lead to rivers, and rivers lead to the most brilliant spectrum of waterfalls the world has ever known. This is an ancient volcanic environment, and the geothermal titan living deep beneath the earth has been creating fantastic geological formations for centuries. In the last decade, this place has become one of the most sought-after destinations in all of modern landscape photography. Welcome to Iceland.
Welcome to Iceland! And most landscape photographers will probably tell you this destination is on their all-time bucket list. So we're here to see what all the hype is about. Waterfalls and Vikings, coming up next.
Before we get started on the whole photography expedition, there are a few ground rules we need to cover about Iceland. This is not your typical destination, and showing up unprepared will definitely lead to a disastrous trip that will send you home tending frostbitten appendages and licking your wounded pride. To begin, the weather in Iceland is highly unpredictable. It rains all day, every day. From the moment you step off the airplane, everything that you own will become wet. And it will not become dry until you get back onto the airplane and return to your place of origin. No matter where you go on the island, some form of precipitation, be it rain, ice, snow, or freezing fog, is only moments away. If you should find yourself in a clearing of sunny blue skies, do not be fooled. This is merely a hallucination created by your subconscious in an attempt to reconstruct the memory of actual sunlight. This notion will soon pass, and you will be brought inexorably back to reality in due time. Additionally, every single Icelandic raindrop is equipped with a specialized homing beacon designed to defy gravity, turn sideways, and fly directly into the lens of your camera, like a barrage of watery, heat-seeking missiles. Attempting to clean your lenses will of course prove futile, as every lens cloth that you own immediately became wet the moment you stepped off the airplane. Roads in Iceland are also unpredictable. Fully paved highways often turn to gravel in a moment's notice. Gravel roads in Iceland are constructed of oatmeal and peanut butter, making them the ideal consistency to suck your vehicle into a bog of no return. Anyone who is old enough to remember Saturday morning cartoons will recall being indoctrinated with a healthy fear of quicksand. Turns out that's actually a real thing in Iceland. In short, should you find yourself on a gravel road, be sure to use extreme caution. Stay in your lane and do not pass other vehicles, no matter how slow they may be going. Everything in Iceland is extremely expensive. Plan on paying at least triple what you are used to paying for all of your everyday provisions. And this brings us to a quick tip. Be sure to stock up on delicious Icelandic vodka before you leave the airport. This is the only place where adult beverages are marginally affordable. Icelandic vodka has magical healing properties, and you're going to need it. This will be your home for the duration of your trip. It will serve as your command center / mobile fire hazard. It handles like a bread truck hauling an elephant and is highly susceptible to quicksand. Always use caution and be prepared to shave a few good years off of your lifespan. And finally, it is of the utmost importance to manage your expectations. Because while Facebook and Instagram have no doubt led you to believe that this is a land of vast and epic solitude, the true landscape paints a far different picture. Where once the lone flock of sheep did roam, we now find brightly clad tourists, shoulder to shoulder, armed with the ever-present iPhone, selfie sticks, and a communal sense of wonder. So, with all these crazy caveats at hand, what is it that brings so many thousands of adventure seekers to this tiny island each year? Considering all the unpredictable weather, record crowds, and exorbitant prices, is it really worth planning your next photography trip to such a place? The answer might just surprise you. This is our buddy Steve. Steve likes gadgets, photography, and travel. Steve was kind enough to shoot some of the footage for this episode, and for that, we are eternally grateful. We look forward to our next adventure with Steve. Okay, so it's cold, and it rains a lot, and it snows a lot. But let's be realistic, none of these things have ever kept photographers from going to hard-to-reach places in search of hard-to-capture photographs. If there's one thing that can certainly be said of this rugged landscape, it's that Iceland will make you work for your images. The ring road which circles the island provides access to an excellent cross-section of both touristy, must-see locations and off-the-beaten-path gemstones stashed away in the wilderness. I recommend visiting a combination of both. The touristy places are easy to get to. They offer large parking lots and plenty of maintained walking trails. The gemstones require research, hiking through mud and enduring all manner of weaponized raindrops, heat-seeking their way into the front of your camera lens. There are far too many excellent locations in Iceland to cover in a single episode, and so we will do our best to create somewhat of a greatest hits album. If you are interested in learning about all the gemstones Iceland has to offer, I recommend this guy. Mads Peter Iversen has created the most detailed and comprehensive video tutorials on virtually every amazing place that Iceland has to offer. I'll drop his channel info into the show notes below and you can choose your own adventure, one stellar destination at a time. He also happens to be one of the best photographers on the planet. You're welcome. As for us, we begin our greatest hits list with a compilation of every photographer's favorite subject, waterfalls. Now, one quick look at the map will tell you that the places on this quirky little island can be somewhat difficult to pronounce. I will certainly do my best, but I can promise you that here in America we have a long-standing tradition of butchering other languages. We mean no disrespect, but when it comes to places like Kirkjufellsfoss and Seljalandsfoss, we run the risk of setting off a grammatical atomic weapon, so please stay clear of the fallout. The first location on our waterfall tour is one of the most iconic cascades on the island. You've seen it a million times on Instagram, and I dare say it could easily be classified as the official waterfall of Iceland. Skogafoss is big, powerful, and very, very popular. It kicks up enough spray to create its own microclimate. And if you get lucky enough to experience actual sunlight on your trip, you might just be treated to a spectacular showcase of shimmering colors. Just down the road, Öxarárfoss kicks off the entrance to Thingvellir National Park, where we find ourselves on the path to the first hidden gem out in the wilderness. With a bit of perseverance in our hearts and a lot of mud on our boots, we arrive at the secluded Brárfoss. Here we discover crystal blue glacial water streaming over a rolling topography of obsidian shelves. The waterfall is broken into 1,000 miniature cascades which spin off in all directions, only to reconvene in a swirling pool of milky sapphire. From top to bottom, the falls drop off a mere 7 feet. But from left to right, we are treated to one of the most elaborate displays of falling water in all of Northern Europe. Leaving our first little gemstone behind, we travel to the southern coast, where we encounter yet another one of Iceland's most iconic destinations. Seljalandsfoss is famous for its gaping spillway, which enables travelers to hike behind the falls. You can expect massive crowds at this location, and no amount of clone stamping will ever be enough to free your composition of curious tourists. It is here that we must once again follow the golden rule of landscape photography. If you want a place all to yourself, you have to get there early. This is true of many things in life. The early bird, well, you know the rest. As we continue our journey on the ring road along the southern coast, we meet inexorably with the North Atlantic. For miles, black volcanic beaches stretch across the coastline. We encounter towering sea cliffs and strange basalt formations which look as though they were raised to fortify the castle walls of a lost civilization. Iceland is also home to a series of glaciers. These colossal ice formations begin high in the mountains, flow down the sloping landscape where they enter the famous iceberg lagoon. Here, the ice swirls in the frigid waters, slowly breaking down before making its way to the beach and eventually the ocean. Icebergs in the lagoon are a popular tourist attraction, as are the glacial remnants which wind up on the shores of Diamond Beach. But with the ice gems long since melted, we continue east towards the coastal mountains of Vesterhorn and Easterhorn. These eastern ranges lift abruptly out of the land, creating a stark contrast to the oceanscape from which they rise. Known for their tidal reflecting pools, the eastern coastal range can be a magical place when the right conditions present themselves. Plumes of scarlet kelp wash up along the shores, creating a fiery molten rim to this strange volcanic landscape. It has been a long journey, but before we return home, we have one last stop to make. No trip to Iceland is complete without experiencing the nation's most famous mountain. Rising from the ocean like a gigantic shark fin, Kirkjufell is a monolithic testament to the strange and unusual geography of this land of fire and ice. Revered by travelers the world over, it seems to defy both gravity and belief. As we make our path across the country, we encounter both the mighty and the meek. We experience the giants of tourism and revel in all the places in between. Somewhere along the way, we begin to discover that no amount of rain or snow will ever stop us from seeking out that which we truly love. Be it the thrill of adventure, the perfect light, or Mother Nature herself, the journey is a little different for each and every one of us. And this, at long last, brings us back to the question that started this whole thing off. Is Iceland really worth it? In my humble experience, there is only one way to find out for sure. The journey is yours, and the first step, as always, begins at your own front door.
Every disaster, when I run away, love's running faster. Only love would take me back again when I've been caught with blood on both my hands. There's no good reason that I could understand. It must be love. God knows
Welcome to Iceland! And goodbye.
Our little blue planet is home to all kinds of amazing destinations, and I've had the privilege to produce photographic artwork for homes and businesses all across the nation. If you are interested in acquiring your own little piece of Mother Nature, every image which appears in this episode can be purchased from my website. So be sure to check out the link in the show notes below, and I look forward to providing your next fine art photograph. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our little Icelandic adventure. Be sure to pack your rain gear and also to hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of cool new stuff coming up and I can't wait to share it. In the meantime, stay sharp and always remember, the camera will take you places you never imagined.